All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into NFT Live. We're covering the Web3 and NFT industry today, and I'm doing so with some characters here. Some characters. Gift threw on a hoodie at the last second. Y'all don't even know he was rocking the tank. And what is Biggie Poppins doing? God knows what's happening on today's episode. Thank you for tuning in.
He
Biggie, what
looks
is
like
up?
in
Fucking
a
hyperventilating here. I'm training my breath because I got a lot to say.
okay. You look like an Azuki character or whatever, right? Isn't that like one of those?
Good to
My
see you
O2
guys.
trainer.
It's good to see both of you, by the way, and it's good to see you guys at home that are tuning in to NFT Live today. We just got finished with a really dope episode on the GM Web3 Morning Show, talking about Tezos, getting some Tezos alpha, getting some SBF news. If you think that you're done with SBF, you're not. You're so far from wrong. I can't even begin to comprehend how wrong you are, because we have Capitol Hill talking about FTX today. I've got some nice quotes from really well informed practitioners of the law and of our government that are talking about crypto and how much they like it. Easy in Crypto, I see you here in the house. Left Action House is here as well. Asmodai, Hash Rhymes, thank you guys for showing up early and often. Gifted, how was the morning show this morning? And then we'll get to Biggie.
It was great. It was an absolute garden of snakes over there on Twitter Spaces, like we like it here in the crypto space. It was a beautiful show. We did hashtag Tez Tuesday, a special edition of Tez Tuesday with none other than Jiwa from the Intent.art crew from Berlin, coming through, sharing some of his knowledge on generative art, on Tezos, and some of the amazing art that's being created over there. So we got some alpha. I picked up a new piece from Kim Asendorf, which I'll actually pull up and share that real quick so you can check it out, because it's fucking cool. And yeah, man. Other than that, we talked obviously about headlines, some of the trending collections, SBF, etc. It was a fun show, like it always is over there on GM Web3. But I'm happy to be here with y'all. There you go. It's yeah. I mean, check this out. Let me go ahead and like if I rescale it, reshape it, does it change? It's reactive, right? Yeah,
Nice.
there you go. So like, yeah, all of Kim's pieces are totally reactive to whatever frame they're going to be in. He has this custom style of generative art that he developed, a custom code called pixel sorting that a lot of his pieces of art use. So what you're seeing them doing is this basically an innovation in generative art, his own style of generative art called pixel sorting, and a lot of his things like a monogrid that I picked up for 250 Tez. The floor is now 2,000 Tez. I got a 10x on one of this guy's other amazing pieces, the monogrid 1.1. So I'm already a big fan. Kim Asendorf has been one of the generative artists that Jiwa has been repeatedly telling us he thinks is going to be a legend. So very, very stoked to pick this one up. Got it for 250 Tez. And that's from his collection, Reading a Book on FX Hash, if anybody else is interested.
The last time Gifted bought something live while doing a show was CockPunch, which we're going to get some details here in just a second. But I'm sure this one's going to do better. I'm assuming, Gift, based on everything I was hearing on the morning show and all the information. I try to say alpha as little as possible in my lexicon.
I thought I was the one punching, but I was the one getting punched right in the cock on that one.
Guys, we're going to cover the ongoing SBF stuff on Capitol Hill here in just a second. We also have like an ongoing story and really like an updating story that we need to talk about probably pretty soon, which is that Binance is now the next in the crosshairs, right? Like there's a bank run happening right now on some Binance assets. People are like apparently fleeing from that exchange, having their funds out of it because people think maybe they're now Binance and CZ is insolvent. So we're gonna have to cover that. But before we do, I want to hear what Biggie Poppins is up to. How was the? I know you tune into the Daily Dose in the morning with Ryan Carson. How are those episodes, man?
I do, man. It's great. I honestly enjoy the format a lot. They're constantly iterating on it. Obviously there is a lot of farming for the POAPs now that the big secret's out that there's going to be a project launch for next year. But it's very chock full of like really quality people, I think, and the conversation it's really elucidating, right? Like just for starting your morning and everything, and there's a lot of like fellow moonbirds over there, so I like it. I encourage people to check it out any chance they can, and then switch on over to Web3, which is kind of like what I do. But yeah, totally cool.
Anything else you're doing in the space right now since last week, all those days ago?
Man, I'm just like trying to like sit on my hands and not reach for more cock, Q. That's the problem.
I know that's hard for you.
To like get more and more and more. But no, honestly, I feel you, Gif. Your metal's being tested, but I think all ye faithful shall be rewarded. I don't know if you've been checking out the announcements lately. Like they just announced like the different houses that we belong to. So I don't know what clan your cock is in, but they've been announced, and like each one has its own separate Twitter profile and everything that you'll be following. And then I think later on today, or maybe as we speak right now, is the first podcast episode where you will get to learn. I think they mentioned that today they're going to be covering the Berserkers. What did you get, Gif? I'm curious.
Is it in the metadata?
It's in the metadata. Yep.
Yeah.
What clan?
I'm gonna pull this up while we're talking as well.
He's a cleric. Yeah, I can share mine. I haven't shared mine because frankly, like I think my art is just okay, and the fact that I paid 1.6 ETH for it doesn't make me feel great, but it's cool. Like I don't think it's that bad.
Cool,
actually, as far as 3D assets go, like I actually think it's better than most. And yeah, so if we go down here, it looks like I'm clan cleric, which is not particularly rare. Are they all around the same rarity, or are there some clans that are more rare?
So that's one thing I was gonna say. So I think forest berserkers and forest elves have the largest quantities. Then it's I think the lowest one is pirates with like 300 or so cocks, and then it's clerics. I'm so like my temptation right now, Gif, is to maybe get one for each clan, which I am resisting because I already got 5, and but I think my hunch from the little bit I've been able to hear in conversations, everything, clerics and pirates are going to be really good. So let's see, but we share I share clans with both of ye here, and man, I don't know what to tell you. Like I understand the FUD was real, and it's one of those cases where number didn't go up immediately as was foretold, and people are getting angry. I don't know if it goes any lower. I might have to add to my bags because I am 100% bullish on this.
So
project,
what's so your journey has been very different than Q and I's on the CockPunch, because we basically aped in around the top. I mean, I aped in at the top, Q a little bit below, around 1 ETH when it was pumping during the mint pre-reveal. But you were in on this super early, grinding in the Discord or doing whatever to get whitelisted. You got what was the mid price? 0.3?
Yeah, 0.3.
You got 1 for 0.3.
And then you also got some on secondary.
But you've been picking more up. That's what I want to know. So how many do you have now? How many cocks?
5 cocks, dude. I'm a kinta-cock. I want to be an octo-cock. I think I'm going to have to at some point. Let's see. Let's
Ladies.
See what happens.
Just doing all the work there. Space Smells Like is saying, what was the podcast Biggie recommended? Is that the Daily Dose with Ryan Carson?
No. Well, the Daily Dose is what we were speaking about. It's a Ryan. You won't find it as Daily Dose. You just need to go to Ryan Carson's profile. The title of his space is called Daily Dosers. And yeah, it's incredible. Like I think there was like 3,000 people today. When it started, it was 105, 115. The crazy part is that when you look at the POAPs, right, like you'll see the attendance and it's like, say, 3,300, and then POAP claims is like 5,800. So there's some leakage going on there, but I know Ryan and the team are like trying to work with, I forget, I think it's Patricio, the name of the founder of
POAP.
the
Yeah,
POAP.
Patricio, I think, is the CEO. I got to meet him at East Denver. He's a nice guy. But we're actually talking with a company called Rev to do something that can't be cheated like that. So actually, on this point, I was wondering, for anybody who is watching, paying attention, if you want to, in the comments, give us any input or ideas on the types of POAPs and POAP integrations that you'd like to see us doing and experimenting with, because that is something that we're planning on playing around with, on integrating, doing POAPs for GM Web3, for NFT Live. Of course, we do this show 4 days a week. We do both shows 4 days a week right now. That's a lot of POAPs if we did it every day. Would it make more sense to do it weekly? Like, I don't know. Like, let us know your thoughts. That's what I want to know in the comments.
So,
what do you think would be the most valuable and interesting way to gamify POAPs for NFT Live?
additionally, I'd love to give you guys a little more of a heads up too. I'm sure some of us here follow NFT God. He will be doing this as well, starting I think next week. But just keep your eyes, turn on notifications for his stuff, because he's starting up, I think, a Discord, and will be like handing out POAPs. It's a tricky thing right now. Like I know Ryan Carson started using Rev for that gift, and the problem is not on Rev's tech side. It's on Twitter. Right now, Twitter, as we know, it just got bought out. And so there's a lot of tinkering going on with the protocol. And from what I understand, like Rev works in, like, you take snapshots of the attendees, and it can only go up to Twitter only allows them to take up a snapshot of up to 1,000 people. So anything beyond that makes it very difficult. One other new thing that Ryan has been implementing is participation POAPs, which I think would be really cool to do here in Web3 with some of our biggest contributors to this space. Is like deliver participation POAPs, which it has not been said that they're going to be worth more than, but it's a bit of a badge of honor to have a participation POAP versus an attendance POAP, right? And I think that what they're talking with Patricio is going to be able to enhance that and just make it a little bit harder to game and a little more fair. So, but I'm glad you guys are thinking along those lines. I think it would do wonders here too.
Also,
after talking with the Nouns DAO crew and like getting involved in that ecosystem, I think the 24-hour or even hour, I think the little nouns do it a little bit on a more consistent basis and more frequent basis. But
every 15 minutes,
even if we ran an auction during the show, and as long as gas wasn't involved, depending on what blockchain we used and all these things, like a Polygon chain or something like that, if we had an auction go on, even if it was only for 10 cents, $1, $5, $10, it would be cool to have like an auction going on while the show is live. But go ahead, Gip. That was when we go down the rabbit hole of like what we could do for activity during the shows. That's where my head goes, which is the announce.
I did actually just want to give a quick update since we were talking CockPunch. The floor has actually gone back up a bit, so it's actually getting close to 0.8. So floor right now is 0.784. So you know what? Actually, maybe found a bottom. Maybe hopefully it's not a dead cat bounce here, but it is actually going back up a little bit. So
Marty, we need you. We need your superpowers to drive the price back down so that I can complete my 8-cock set. Please go on it.
Become the Octocock. All right, we're gonna get into today's episode, guys. Ready for the Argentina win? So we do have an Argentina-Croatia that is going to make this episode, Jacob, very
gotta be a short show.
It's
gotta be a short show because Argentina versus Croatia in T-minus 30 minutes kicking off.
All right, so here's the deal with today's episode, guys. We are going to cover SBF and FTX, and basically SBF getting arrested. He finally got pinched. It's what we've been waiting for since the news broke about all of this stuff. Even 2 months ago, I think we first got the inklings of what was happening at Alameda and FTX. So he finally got pinched in the Bahamas. We'll cover a little bit of that. Capitol Hill was talking to the now FTX CEO, and a lot of great comments again coming from our elected officials there at Capitol Hill about crypto. So we'll get into that here in a second. But I do have we have like a mixture of good and bad news. right? Like good macro news. I think inflation is slowing. That is always something we want to look at when you're talking about the macro environment concerned with crypto, right? Because we're not going to we haven't decoupled to the point where we're going to outperform the stock market by X amount when inflation is continuing and continuing. So we saw a slowdown in inflation. We'll cover that here in a second. ApeCoin staking went off without a hitch. We'll cover that. I know we have a Kung Fu update here in quick news as well, Biggie, that we can hit. We touched on CockPunch just then. And then we do want to touch on this Binance stuff that's happening literally as we press live. So that is something that we'll get into. But please leave a like on today's episode. It does help the episode get out to the masses. It helps get the word out to the netherverse on YouTube here, on Twitch, on Twitter. So thank you for tuning in wherever you're at. That's my CTA. My CTA game is getting fucking phenomenal.
There was nowhere to go but up.
Words, everything just perfect. Perfect delivery there, Q. I like it.
I appreciate it. Go ahead, get Biggie.
No. I was just looking at Marty McFly's comments, and welcome to the Cleric clan, my friend. I'm glad he's with us. Giff, one of us. One thing I will say is, obviously, like. I did spend some time like just kind of doing a little bit of sleuthing over the wallets of CockPunch, last CockPunch comment that I will make. But if you're a little worried, like GIF might be, I encourage anybody to just go and look at like the top 10, 20 holders of CockPunch. Look at their wallets, see what they're holding, see what their trajectory is. And I think you'll feel a lot better in partaking.
I
in this awesome.
You're gonna like scare Biggie away from like telling us about any of the next drop that's gonna go 100x. He's not gonna tell us about because we gave him so much hell about CockPunch. Come on, Giff.
I got it. Wait, what? I bought it at the top, and I'm like holding. I don't know what you're talking about. I am not fudding it. I'm just pointing out that I bought it at the top, and that doesn't feel good.
But now every time we hop on the episode, Biggie has to like explain the fundamentals of why CockPunch is going.
I wanted to hear his journey and what he's doing. I didn't know that he had 5 now and he's trying to get there. Like I didn't know.
I'm just joshing you. No, I actually like the ongoing talk about your journey with CockPunch. Honestly, I think we should continue to do that if you're going to continue collecting. Gift just went full SBF mode. Easy in Crypto saying, I've met Patricio. Unfortunately, POAP going downhill since they got big money. Dickenza is saying POAP as an ERC 721 on ETH. Generative unique one of ones would be good. Let's see. Asmodai saying FTX arrest before he could appear before the House. That is a bit fishy. Send Gift Dead to chat open AI for his CT. What are we talking about there?
I don't know. I'm playing League of Legends, so I'm not really that engaged.
Solid. Yeah. All right, so we'll get this kicked off. I am going to cover really quick. ApeCoin staking went live without a hitch. Like we didn't get hacked, we didn't get rugged, nothing really big happened, which is exactly what we wanted to see. We can see this staking.
Knock on wood. Testing fate right? There.
Jesus.
Testing fate. Jesus.
Listen, I'm doing it for the production value here. You can see right up here at the top, the staking numbers have like kind of plateaued, which means these are kind of the numbers to expect here in the first 6 months. Maybe somebody comes out of nowhere, maybe it continues, but you can see this plateau where all of these people were staking. We had a large run up before staking went live, and you can see it start to plateau. So these numbers in the MAYC pool, the BAKC pool, I could see them going down to about 200%. Like based on what we've just been looking at every single day with this Dune Analytics. But I think this is where we're going to kind of sit. The ApeCoin staking pool is at 178. That one will probably have a sharper increase over time because it has a lower barrier to entry. So those are the percentages we're seeing. We are receiving rewards, and look, that's pretty much the news that's related to that, other than is Yuga now going to address the additional utility. We'll see on Christmas Eve, the trial of Jimmy. We'll see what they come out with on the other side and the other deeds. That's pretty much what we're waiting for. But ApeCoin staking going down without a hitch. Giff, Biggie, you got any comments there?
That's a win in my book. I'm happy. We need these. We need these little tidbits when you're hearing crap about like Binance. Like that does have me a little bit worried, to be honest. Especially the way CZ is reacting towards it. So yeah, any of these little good news, feel good tidbits Q. Keep them coming, please.
A win's a win. A win's a win. You know what? Yeah, we'll take what we can get right
We'll
now. And
take it. Yeah.
this obviously, this is one of those things that like has the potential to like destroy the market even worse if it goes wrong in any sort of way. And there is so much that can go wrong. So the fact that it hasn't gone wrong so far, it looks like it's actually going right, I do think is a really big deal. I'm very excited about it. I do think that the APYs are going to keep dropping for a little bit because I'm actually watching the price of Ape to maybe like see if it drops in the next 24 hours and then maybe buy more Ape and then stake it. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that's thinking that right now. But yeah, it's a win, and I think focusing on some of these positives, while again the FUD that is happening and incoming is going to be thick and heavy, like it was around the Silk Road, because literally the people in Congress right now are talking about crypto like it's all just the Silk Road still. So let's talk about some wins. ApeCoin staking is live. This is huge. If it all goes to plan and works and is valuable for people, that's a big win. CPI, Consumer Price Index, the inflation rate came in lower than expected. So ETH is bouncing, a bunch of Bitcoin's bouncing. A lot of the other markets and big cryptos are responding positively to the fact that inflation may be slowing down, and inflation came in lower than expected. I'm actually getting some flips. I've seen some collections that we've been in on trending. Genuine Undead's trending. We talked about Wrecked Guys. They're over in ETH now. CockPunch is trending up. I actually flipped. We talked about Pudgy Penguins like a month or two ago, and I bought more. I flipped a Pudgy
off the Kellogg's news.
I don't know, but like no, I think it's just a strong IP and a strong. Actually no, I flipped a Lil Pudgy. So there's the expansion of Lil Pudgies. I flipped a Lil Pudgy yesterday for 0.4 ETH, and I flipped a couple others recently as well, like a Humankind. We talked about Pablo Stanley's Humankind. I flipped one of those for like 0.26. So it's like, you know what? There's some wins, and I think it's good to focus on some of the positives while we can.
I agreed. Jumping off that CPI point as well. So I did highlight here, inflation slowed more sharply than expected in November. Fed policymakers are set to release their latest rate decision at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Again, this is a macro kind of market indicator here, whether they raise rates by a full percentage point or more is important, but they're expected again to raise interest rates only by 0.5 percentage point. Again, this just means that they're slowing down kind of their response to inflation, right? So if they had to act aggressively, raise interest rates really heavily because inflation was hitting pretty hard, but we see that in November it came down by about 1%. Obviously, we want to be on this timeline if we want to see some good macro growth, but that's really good news on both sides. Again, we're focusing on the benefits, not the FUD that we see in the market, which we'll cover here in a second. But what's your guys' take?
Well, real quick, just to respond to Kenza's about what's moving Wrecked Guys. Apparently, a bunch of the collectors got together and made a pact that if it hit a 1 ETH floor, they'd all go get Wrecked Guys tattoos. And so apparently that was enough to pump it up to a 1 ETH floor.
And like I think that's very similar to what we're seeing happening right now with the market and this whole CPI fiasco, right? Like I think, yes, it's obvious, it's a little jolt for the market, but please don't lose sight and tread carefully, because the Treasury Department did announce that we only spent $250 billion just this month. So nothing's changed. This government is still leveraging its debt to high heaven. I don't think this is going to last very long. The other thing that I would, encourage some of you, if you're familiar with Raul Pal, he's been posting a lot of great data points and stories there. And if you are part of Real Vision, I encourage you to check out his recent interview called "My Life in 4 Trades," talking about the 4 most defining trades in his life, in which he just talks about his thesis, especially right now, which he calls like the exponential age, right? And it's bullish. I promise you, it's not going to depress you. I think he has like a summary, a thread that he posts there about it, which is good enough. And what you need to recognize is like all these things are just narratives, right? And I mean, the trend is up and to the right with all these technologies like crypto, machine learning, AI, CRISPR, gene editing, all that stuff. But you will be affected by, all this geopolitical financial fiasco that these centralized institution and dinosaurs are trying to fight back against, right? Which is us. And so, I love seeing people get very happy when they see green candles and all that stuff, but just tread lightly. We're not nowhere near out of the woods yet.
I have gotten some bullish text messages and DMs from people that have been in the space for a little bit and have been through multiple cycles in their kind of expectation of how long this bear market is going to last. And I do want to point out this. I looked at this morning because I just wanted to take a gander of the last time we saw an all-time high. It was November of 2021. So we're already a full year past the last all-time high, meaning we've been in a bear market essentially for a year. And, usually these cycles last anywhere from 2 to 3 years. They definitely match up somewhat with the Bitcoin halving that happens every 4 years. But you definitely have a situation where people, are feeling a little bit more bullish, that we had that severe inflation happen over this past year. It was just a bad year. Like, let's be honest, financially, it was a bad year. A lot of us got hit. We had Black Swan events hit at the end of this year as well. So a lot of people are feeling like, hey, this is that, and I've gotten this direct text message like this feels like 2019 before that DeFi summer in 2020, and then we ran into 2021 with NFTs and all this stuff that really was just awesome to see before 2022 hit. So that's kind of my general feeling as well. Again, I lean bullish, like I lean more towards optimistic, like the market's going to come back sooner rather than later. So I'm thinking along the same mindset of like, okay, we got through this SBF event. Now, me and Biggie do have some links we want to pull up here with Binance. That's a whole nother thing. If this everything I just said, if Binance goes under, then yeah, fuck it. We're gonna here goes another year that we're gonna have to figure this out. Regulation is gonna come down so fucking heavy. If two of the biggest exchanges in the world,
it already is. That's the thing. Is like, dude, given the tone and the tenor of what I was watching this morning in Washington, it's already going to be coming in hard. I think to your point, it might be even worse, right? But like, I just think it's already.
Yeah.
No, we're already in a bad spot.
We are. I will say that I don't think they make up a majority. Like those basic, and we're going to pull up the quotes here in a second from some of the people on Capitol Hill and some of the representatives. Like the representative from California, I believe Brad Sherman's quotes were absolute, just unbelievable. He was basically saying that crypto is a danger to the lower and middle class because crypto attacks the world reserve currency that the U.S. has, which is just like the most.
That guy is the most dangerous person on the hill right now. I think. Because he's ideologically opposed to something he does not understand, and that's dangerous.
And he's able to promote that narrative, right, and convince people of it, which is what I think is really happening here. Like you said, it doesn't take a genius to recognize that these guys are completely ill-informed. They don't read anything that comes across their desk. Their sole purpose is to drive whatever interest or narrative is convenient to them. And right now, we've given them with SBF and if Binance and all these other things happen, we've given them everything on a silver platter to frame us as the garden of snakes that everybody's trying to paint us as.
But guys, before we get to the SBF stuff, I do want to hit the last pieces here. I think you're correct there, Biggie, and there's a couple of threads that I want to pull up that kind of state in some form or fashion the same thing. Tell me about this Kung Fu details, and then we'll talk Binance and then get to SBF.
Oh, thank you, Q. I'm so happy you mentioned this. Is good news to me. I'm a big proponent of gifting NFTs. I think it's a phenomenal way to onboard people onto this space. And I think this is a very easy, accessible, risk-free way of doing it. It's driven by a great team that's already performed really well. They started in the Stacks ecosystem, moved on to Ethereum, and they've got some really, really cool, they have a really cool roadmap out there. it's $25. I'm gonna definitely pick up a few. Not financial advice. This is for gift giving, in my opinion. But it is a great way to teach people about NFTs, get them excited about it. They've got some great partnerships. I think BAYC is one of like their main guys there. Moonbirds as well. So basically, you can read up and share the link if you want. Q. It's not long, but I think it's a great project to promote this holiday season. I'm happy to do so. I think they do great work, and I'm looking forward to it. I just hope it doesn't get botted to death either, right?
So Kung Fu is already an established NFT project?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It started off
First
as
time hearing of
Megapont. So it's the original, the father project of it, the Genesis project is called Megapont Apes. You can see Mark's ape right there. That's his profile pic. They started off in the Stacks ecosystem. They are like the crypto punks of the Stacks ecosystem. Stacks ecosystem, for anybody that doesn't know, is to me like the most promising smart contract layer 2 platform for Bitcoin. It's got a very interesting, they call it proof of transfer, protocol that basically secures everything using Bitcoin security. And it's really cool. Like they're creating this multi-chain story world, right? So they started with Megapont and Stacks, then they moved over to apes on Ethereum, which are really, really cool. And now they're doing Kung Fu. And their whole thing is to try to onboard as many people and to make it friendly and accessible and fun, not to pump anybody's bags or anything. So that's the type of project I like to get behind.
Awesome. Amazing details. Always bringing the alpha there. Again, that's my quota for saying alpha on today's show, but thank you, Biggie, for bringing that up. All right, we are going to jump into our first big story of the day. These two were kind of related. Again, SBF and Binance and CZ are all kind of intermingled. FTX, one of the largest exchanges in the world. Binance, one of the largest exchanges in the world. Definitely more so overseas too. Like internationally, Binance is very, very large. So
aren't they number one now? I mean, like, haven't they been number one? I think Binance is. I think
I think you're right on that. I do. So Binance being the biggest exchange in the world. Here's what we're hearing from the Twitterverse, the DMs I'm getting are related to this, but here's kind of a thread that makes what's happening more clear. These are just texts between individuals in the know. Again, this says, let people know to get their funds off Binance. Use my tweet if you want to, or create your own. People need to know. Execs are bailing. Institutional, which is Jump Capital, is fleeing, and Charge is coming. Just a heads up that a bunch of Binance stories are going to hit the tape this week. Reporters hitting me up constantly. They've confirmed leadership losses. Accounting contacts have serious issues with the proof of reserves. No reporter can confirm or identify the parent or ownership structure of Binance and can track down a meeting. Full listing of executives beyond CZ. All items and stories that are set to come out from outlets like CNBC, Bloomberg, TruthDAO. So there's a ton of different stories. Biggie brought up this one as well, which is that, but there's apparently $3 billion that was sent from the Tether treasury to Binance. This would indicate potentially that they're trying to kind of like save, again, like keep them solvent essentially. But also, you can go down and in the comments, this might have been a scheduled transaction. So like a chain swap from Tron to Ethereum. So that one would be a big indicator of like, okay, they're trying to really make sure that Binance is solvent, but it looks like that was a scheduled chain swap, and you could see the tweet by Tether there. So this is a developing story. We're going to pull up tweets as we see it, and we'll continue to go. But Biggie, did you have any comments on Binance as it stands right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I use it a lot. I do not want it to go down. Of course, it would be like catastrophic for crypto. Having said that, I think, it behooves anybody that does have funds there right now to maybe withdraw while you still can, because you never know, like whether it's true or not is irrelevant after a certain point, right? Once it becomes, big news, and if you're able to cause a bank run, which I'm sure certain people would love to fabricate or promote or cause, right? Like you never know what can happen. I remember when the FTX thing and many of us said, "What is that?"
Yeah, I don't know. GIF, is that you?
It
Sorry.
sounds like a leaking faucet.
I was like
right?
trying to figure that out.
I
It's
thought
not
I was
me, man.
muted. My B.
Yeah. Anyways, I think like a lot of us when we heard the FTX news, we were incredulous about it, and maybe we, at least that was my particular case. I lost some funds there because I honestly could not, in my right mind, believe that this was true. Right until it was a little too late, and I wasn't able to withdraw. So anybody that might have something in Binance that you don't want to lose, maybe just withdraw it for the time being, right? Because you never know when these things become like a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's all I'm saying.
Dude,
Let's hope not.
Question is right now, is Binance solvent? Go ahead, GIF.
well, this is where Marty's tinfoil hat, I'm going to put it on here for a second because it's like, well, all this shit is taking place. It seems like there's a coordination now happening in Washington to attack this issue, right? Because a lot of stuff all came out in the last 24 hours. He was brought into custody. There was a bunch of charges filed across 3 different agencies. I think it's the DOJ, SEC, and CFTC. All of them filed a bunch of charges in the last 24 hours. So to me, there's clearly there's now some coordination and some momentum in Washington to attack this issue. And so where my tinfoil hat comes in, it says, okay, you know what? If we've got people like Sherman, up on their soapbox now, spreading the FUD of like this is all degenerate gambling, drug dealing, money laundering, and they see the opportunity using FTX as like an SBF as the poster boy for all of crypto and saying that this is all just horrible. I could see there being some kind of coordination / string pulling on trying to see can they cause the basically lone standing biggest the biggest marketplace to also fail with a run on them. So like I don't know how much of this is organic and if any part of it is being sort of pushed or manipulated by all of this stuff. Maybe not. This is very much speculative. All right, so he says no, but I'm just saying, like, imagine how bad, to your point, Q, like, or how much of a win, how good it could be for those who are opposing crypto and want to basically regulate it into the floor, control it all for the banks. If Binance goes under, it's basically gonna be like, well, it's all fucked, and we're gonna tell you how it's all done. I don't know. I'm kind of out there on my tinfoil hat, Marty McFly zone. But the last thing I want to add this, right? The most important learning and maybe one of the benefits coming out of this is that all of this makes the case for what crypto is supposed to be, which is self-sovereign ownership of your own keys and your own crypto. So at the end of the day, ledger sales are picking up. People are understanding more and more the value of actually, owning, self-custodying your crypto, because that's what crypto is supposed to be in the first place. And actually, all of these marketplaces and financial derivatives and things built on top of it is kind of actually getting away from what crypto is even supposed to be.
And to add to that, I would encourage everyone here, like if you get a chance, do check out the Defiance latest documentary. It's short. It's like a 30-minute documentary. It's called The War on Code. It's all regarding the whole Tornado Cash ordeal and why one of the devs, only one of them, was charged with, versus the other 2, which live in the United States. It is, I think, a war on freedom of speech. And obviously, it really gives you a lot of insight on how many of these big government institutional players think about all of this. It's really well done. And, this stuff is not easy to do. So I highly encourage everybody to go check it out. Leave them a like. It's worth it.
Biggie, can you drop that in the private chat so I can put that on the public chat?
Yeah, most definitely.
Listen, man, like we've been in crypto for a long time, and we've been, as we get older and have more experience, like we get to see more things happen in the U.S. and even outside the U.S. in the world. And I, over the course of the just years in observance of all this, think that the world leans more toward chaos than order. And the idea that there's some like behind the scenes workings, and everything is just going off without a hitch, and the plan is being implemented. COVID showed me a lot with how much the world stands on just like a thread of society. You kick out one of those stools and it just goes into chaos. So the idea, again, going back to it, that they can coordinate through all of these different mediums and all of these different things need to happen so that this CBDC can come into existence is, to me, so far beyond what's actually true. Yes, they're going to have wins. I think FTX potentially was. There are situations where, based on how much they're involved with them, I don't know, but there are situations where they have wins. And there's also situations where, like, to say that they're in charge, like they co-opted crypto, is, in my opinion, just such a ridiculous statement. Like, things happen in the world and they respond to it. Sometimes they have wins, sometimes they have losses. Do they have to, like, it's
fair, and I get your point.
They're capitalizing on it, right? Like, it's an opportunity that was presented to them, and I think you'll see this in the war of code also that I'm mentioning to you. I posted it here on our private chat queue. It's basically that, the fact that this person that was living in the Netherlands was charged was because of the regulatory system that the Netherlands has versus the one that the United States has, where freedom of speech is more broadly protected and they can't go after you for publishing code. Regardless, this person, unfortunately, was in a place where certain entities were able to capitalize on his situation and try and make an example, right? And they did. And now this is exactly what you're seeing with the FTX fiasco and Binance, right?
Exactly.
Like it happened because, yes, we are all chaotic, but it's a great opportunity for these people to implement and push their narrative and their control forward.
So if you believe that I don't know, man. There's so much. It's
just a rabbit hole. Yeah, I don't need it. I don't need it.
But here's the thing. Like, to Biggie's point, like, if you listen to that Sherman guy and what he was saying today, he clearly sets up the stakes. He talks about crypto is actually an existential threat to the dollar, to fiat currency. And so if you start to actually frame this that way, like they are framing it, that they understand crypto has the potential to actually change the dynamics of power and of money, then you understand that, like, there's a lot of really smart people up at the top that currently hold on to power that are feeling somewhat threatened by this new thing that maybe they don't fully understand, but they understand at least that it poses an existential threat to their power and control over not just the US, but global money, how global fiat works, how the financial systems globally work. So I'm just saying, I like, yes, I think it's very opportunistic because they see potentially right now, this might be our best chance to fend off what is the biggest threat to US dollar monopolizing the entire global currency system, basically in the last 100-200 years, or I don't know, 100.
And how ironic,
since World War II. Since World War II, really, right? That's when it kind of like really became the global reserve standard, right? Basically, if you start to understand that this might be the biggest threat and the biggest opportunity that they've had to maintain that control and not lose more of it, then it starts to look a lot more to me like that opportunity presents reason for covert operations, right? So it's like, yes, it's opportunistic, but also do not think that people like BlackRock and the people that are behind the fucking biggest banks in the world do not understand covert operations and do not have an understanding of power, money, and existential, threats to their power.
Yeah, I do want to be super clear, as like I'm now on the face of the sun, apparently, that that I'm not saying that I don't I'm not saying here that I'm completely naive and believing. Hold on, I gotta fix this. This is wild.
I thought he was trying to basically cover his face while he.
I was like, "Where's your nose, bro?"
It's fucking wild.
But honestly, what
it was like apocalyptic events happening. Go ahead.
How crazy is it, right? That everybody's highlighting the whole CPI going down, inflation coming down by 0.2, what was expected. Nobody's talking about the $250 billion that we came over budget just this freaking month. right? That's the biggest threat to the U.S. dollar being still reigning supreme. It has been since 2008, but we keep freaking getting in debt over and over and over. But that's not highlighted, right? That's not what's really talked about. You need a bad guy, and right now we're it.
Sarah Script saying, I think they also want to protect national security. It can be both. I think that pretty much sums up the way that I feel about it as well. Truthfully, the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. I really don't think that they're pulling every single string to make sure that this happens in the direct timeline that it's happening. Do I think they're being opportunistic? Do I think they're being smart? Do I think there's fucking really smart people that are behind the scenes taking an opportunity to gain more power? Fuck yeah. But to say it's all on like some predetermined time based on the people behind the scenes that are on Epstein Island is just look. Here's my problem with this too, is that guys like Alex Jones.
We made it to Epstein Island.
Yeah, exactly. Like we need to shut down. We're getting shadow banned. Here's my thing: is like I rarely hear the people that are really heavily conspiracy theorists like come back in 4 or 5 years and say they were wrong. Like that's my thing. Is there were probably people talking about this shit in 2013. They're like, just wait, and then you're not held accountable. You can just spout what you want to spout, and then you're not held accountable on the information that you're talking about. And that's my problem with the whole thing. So I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole that I'm already down anyways. But Ryan Selkis is a great follow for you as we get into this SBF FTX hearing. This guy has been a champion for crypto on Capitol Hill for a long time. Marty McFly saying the exact thing that I was just talking about. It's okay. Someday we'll all get to it. And Senator Warren is going to drop an anti-crypto bill tomorrow during the Senate hearing. That comes less than a week after she did the bidding of a Silvergate short seller and sent a nasty gram designed to punish a crypto-friendly bank and spark a bank run. A lot of great threads from him here on what is actually happening because he's on the ground on Capitol Hill a lot.
Even just one senator who's trying to spark bank runs. Like I'm just saying, like. Whether or not it's all coordinated or if there's a lot of chaos, I think that you're starting to see more coordination from the highest levels attacking this issue, right? And so again, I don't know how grand the conspiracy is or how organized it is, or even if it's a conspiracy. Clearly, again, there's a threat to the powers that be, and they're starting to look at the opportunity as like, yo, we gotta capitalize.
All right, I'm going to bring up a couple different threads. We're kind of like in the mix. I think we were covering Binance, and then we got pulled down the Alex Jones Epstein Island talk. So that was unfortunate. One overwhelming observation. This is from Autism Capital. Amazing follow here on Twitter. One overwhelming observation we keep coming back to is that Congress is a circus. These representatives view their time to speak, which each one has about 5 minutes, I think, if you watch it, as a stand-up set. They want to get the tight 5 minutes to be seen a certain way. It even throws off the speaker at the hearing. Wait, is this serious? That's what it seemed like to me when I was watching this shit, man. Is like everybody has 5 minutes to make their point, and they're going to be. It's almost like television. It's literally. Culture. It's just like let's.
Culture.
Yeah. How can I improve? How can I improve my visibility on the Hill by saying something extremely controversial and therefore being put in the middle of this FTX stuff? It's how it seems.
I mean, look at. I mean, first of all, look at how the algorithms on social media reward trolls. It's not just crypto Twitter. That's across every sector of the internet, right? And so you see this literally playing out in the highest, positions of power. Marjorie Taylor frickin' Greene is a troll. Like that person is a living troll human who has now become one of the most powerful people in Congress because she raises more money than all of them combined by trolling, literally by being the most offensive, inflammatory person and pandering to the crazy far alt-right, people who literally wanted to overthrow the government and kill more police. Like literally is she's talking about, hey, if we took our guns to the 6, we would have won and fucking like killed more police officers. Like that is the type of person that is now being put at the highest like positions of power in our government, specifically because she's rewarded for making these statements, getting played back across all these algorithms and getting amplified and then that drives actual money and people's actions to support her. This shit is fucking horrendous.
So a lot of things happening here. Like we're talking again about Binance and that run that's going on currently. We put up some tweets by CZ. It looks like they have a certain amount of reserves, so I don't think it's the exact same scenario as FTX, but we're going to be kind of in and out of both conversations, folks. So there was that FTX hearing today. So the CEO, the current CEO, that was the CEO that replaced Sam Bankman Fried when he got removed. I don't know the details around how he got removed and all these different things, if that was voluntary or if there was a board even. I don't even think there was a fucking FTX board.
He didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
He didn't have a choice. There was no board. There was no records.
So who did it?
Yeah.
Who made it?
Well,
here it is.
He probably realized that he had to, or somebody literally forcibly made him. It might have been his parents. Like straight up, his parents. I would love to know, because his parents were there at the beginning of FTX and at the end. I would actually love to know what level of involvement his parents had in like this whole fucking scheme. That would be fascinating. But this guy is apparently famous for being the like interim CEO who takes over these horrible, fraudulent,
Exxon has been thrown out multiple times.
Enron, right? And Enron. Yeah. So Enron, basically he's looking at this and saying this is way worse than Enron. And Enron was one of the biggest. Yeah. No, and it's specifically because there's zero records. They were literally just in Slack, like, talking shit. And
they said QuickBooks is how they did the accounting.
And then it was literally just SBF doing whatever the fuck he wanted.
Okay.
Basically. There was no board. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to finish out, guys, with this Binance and FTX stuff. We'll stay in here for another 10 minutes, but Argentina did just start. Space Smells Like is saying, let's go Argentina. I think everybody here is cheering for Messi and the Argentinians to pull it off finally. I just dropped the YouTube video. This is kind of a look at what was going on today. Again, that is Mr. Ray. I need to get his first name, but they called him Mr. Ray, which is kind of hilarious to say out loud. But he is the CEO of FTX. That is the chairman of the House Committee, I believe. I'm getting caught up in this stuff, but here's the dude. That is the dude we all need to be fucking worried about.
Yo,
Brad Sherman.
Enemy number one.
My Lord, look at the fucking man. He's like a step away from death.
And I mean, some of the comments that he made, Gif, you were talking about it being, I'm going to try to pull it up here, but it was basically like crypto is a garden full of snakes.
He called us all a garden of snakes. And basically made it seem like it's all just the Silk Road still.
He was saying that crypto is made for billionaire crypto bros. He literally said this. He said crypto bros, billionaire crypto bros, multiple times over. Just like the rhetoric that basically we were dealing with in 2014, we're still dealing with today. Sucks ass, but that's literally what happened with this one. And I will say again, there are some of these individuals that came out and were supportive.
As a professional crypto bro, I am absolutely not appreciating the tone of this man. Frankly, he can keep his thoughts to himself and doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So, Mr. Sherman, how about them apples?
He had a quote, and I have to find it in here. Hopefully I can. I had it pulled up. Let me make sure I get this, guys, for you. But he was basically like, I've been trying to ban crypto in California for years. Let me make sure I get this. For years, I've been trying to ban Californians from participating in crypto. Crypto is a den of snakes. Is there a bigger market for hidden currency? Another quote from this gentleman, would you consider changing the
financial system?
Tell him, Biggie. Would you consider changing the name of crypto to Creepy Dough? And then this guy with the I have doggy coin. Is that how you say it? How do you say it? Doggy, Doge. Well, Doge was worth $1,000, let's say last year. Now it's $1. How do I get my money back? This guy said this on national television.
Invested in doggy coin. So they're able to appropriate the lingo, but they don't understand shit all of a sudden. Like,
hey, all of my
lost money on
are down from last year. How do I get my money back?
Yeah, I lost money on AMC. How do I get my money back? How do I get that, folks? So it was unreal to like just sit there, but definitely Brad Sherman was the highest on the spectrum of just spine tingling things he was saying about this space. You think we kind of worked out of it. That was the issue that I was kind of, looking at. Even when SBF would go to the Hill and he would be talking about this, it felt like we were getting to the place where there was some type of cooperation across both sides. And then you hear that today and it's like, oh no, there's still people that want to completely destroy this industry.
Yeah.
A couple different things I want to show before we hop off here today, and we make it a short episode. And please drop any comments you guys have. Pax Mark is saying, take away freedom for security. Same old speech. Exactly. Mm-hmm. This was a pretty good tweet here that Forbes was able to get their hands on the transcript that SBF was planning to give to Congress, which is a tie-in to all of this of why he got arrested. And he was set to speak today in that same Capitol hearing that we showed there on the screen. He was set to give a speech and a testimony there today and got arrested, so he can't make the testimony. Think of that what you will, Marty. Let us know your thoughts on that. But in the tweets or in the comments here, we the one main thing he was saying is that he was forced by the current CEO to sign the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and that FTX US is actually fully solvent. He said, to his knowledge, FTX US, which means BlockFi, which means the Gemini, or I think it was Genesis. I'm getting that Genesis. If that is true, then all of those institutions should be able to, be made whole. But that was his saying, was that FTX is solvent, FTX US is solvent, FTX is not, and that's where the insolvency was happening. So I'll drop that link as well, but that apparently was his transcript. Kind of weird that was leaked.
He clearly leaked it, or someone close to him wants it out there because he's not getting his chance to say it. So, it's his side of the story, which obviously for him, I mean, and honestly, for crypto writ large, again, given how one-sided that conversation is happening right now, it might be important to have it out there. That is one of the unfortunate, I don't want to say unfortunate, I don't know, man. Look, the guy fucked up, like he said, and I don't think we can feel bad for him because all of this FUD and all the how negative and bad there was actually a lot of.
He's a villain.
There was a lot of
intentional, calculated, and planned. There's no fuck up here.
And then he doubled down.
This is not a mistake. They're trying to frame it that way, but that's not anything short of being a villainous son of a bitch. That's what he was. And
the negative ramifications of his actions are going to be so bad for the entire space, and that sucks.
I'm gonna pop into this story really quick. So this is again from a majority of outlets. For all intents and purposes, this is completely true. Of course, FTX founder Sam Bankman Fried arrested in the Bahamas. So he finally again did get pinched. He is there. I'm sure he'll be extradited to the U.S. And made to stand trial here in the States. So that was something we've been waiting on for a long time. It was interesting, the timing of this hearing. Weinbags is saying, do we think the arrest was actually timed to prevent him to testify? Again, I'm not. Yes, I probably would be on that, which is not to say that I'm going to be. I don't want to have the spectrum debate again, but that sounds like something that would be opportunistic to not have him air all the dirty laundry there for everybody to see.
And spin it counter to the narrative that the people in Congress want to be telling. But also, again, he would have lied a lot too. Look, the guy's been out there fucking lying about all kinds of shit. So anyway, how about...
I have a totally unrelated question for the two of you before we say goodbye. When watching the World Cup, you guys watch it in English, of course, right? You don't watch it in Spanish?
I'm watching it in English, but I like the Spanish.
I watch it in Spanish. I do not understand.
Yeah.
Like I try, but it's impossible. Like I cannot. Like it's so slow. Like it makes it seem a lot less exciting. I challenge all our followers, check it out in Spanish. It's a lot more fun. And if you understand it, oh my lord, dude. The things that are said.
They definitely go ape shit when they score those goals. I love it, dude. I love seeing those highlights.
Español
Sí,
es mejor.
100%.
All right, folks, we are coming up to the end of the episode. I really liked everybody's takes on what's going on. We're going to follow the Binance stuff as we go forward. Again, all the signs point to Binance actually having the reserves to pay this stuff off, but it looks like some big actors are removing liquidity from that exchange. I think most exchanges right now work on that same kind of bank mentality of not having all of the assets on hand. So this can cause a very big event, but I do think they have a large amount of reserves, so it's not necessarily the same FTX scenario.
And it's going to make it look even better, right? If it does not go under and if it's able to go through this trial by fire. So all the better, if it's rushed.
I do want to give a shout out to Marty McFly too. We always have the back and forth, and I appreciate it more and more as we kind of go into these conversations. We need to have both sides at the end of the day. That's what I want to be doing is kind of getting
you, Marty. 100%. I can't wait till the tech you're able to come online live with your Avastar face and have a chat with us. That'd be dope.
He could do that now. He could definitely do that now. I'm going to play one quick clip from, apparently I was able to actually find the clip of Representative Sherman. So you guys can hear in real life, in the flesh, what Representative Sherman was talking about here. I'm going to play probably the first 30 seconds of his hearing here on the Hill.
I'm the only member of the House to get an F from the only crypto promoting organization that rates members of Congress. My fear is that we'll view Sam Bankman Fried as just one big snake in a crypto Garden of Eden. The fact is, crypto is a garden of snakes. Now, from the outside, crypto just looks like a non-fungible token, an electronic pet rock for the 21st century, something that might be good to invest in even though it has no apparent value because you might get somebody else to buy it from you for even more. But in reality, the hope of crypto is to be a currency, to compete with the US dollar, and to announce its advantage over the US dollar in that competition. It puts the advantage right in the name. Crypto, hidden currency.
False.
Well, is there a big market for that? Is there a big advantage that crypto has over the US dollar if it actually became a currency, which it's not yet? Well, there are drug dealers, human traffickers, sanctions evaders who will find that to be a good feature. And as Sam Bankman Fried would tell you, there's a hell of a market for bankruptcy court evasion. But the big market is tax evasion.
So you kind of got the vibe of where this guy was going with his narrative.
Have you ever wanted to punch an old guy in the face more than now? Honestly, the man doesn't even have a wallet, and I would just love to trip him.
Crypto is about security. It's not about
and transparency. Yeah, actually very transparent.
And transparency. It's but I mean, crypto is cryptography, right? It's that's this idea that's all hidden money. It's nah, bro. To your point, it's actually more transparent than what the fuck.
But he
y'all
talks like an insider, right? From the outside, it might look but let me tell you, what it really is. Sir, do you even have a wallet?
No, that guy is dangerous. That's what I'm saying. Is that he is ideologically opposed to something he does not understand, and he clearly has an agenda that is coming from people who actually control him. I don't think this guy ain't shit. He's a fucking loser. Honestly, if you look at this guy looks like a fucking creepy loser who's clearly the puppet of the banks or some other people who are telling him yo, we got to shut this shit down. No, most politicians in Congress are bought and paid for. That's the ramification. That's the event. That's where we've gotten to with our capitalist system.
That's how they get elected.
Over everything and Citizens United and all that shit, where it's money is all that matters in Congress. So this guy is absolutely bought and paid for by the people who are existentially threatened by crypto. And you feel it again when he's he sets up that there is an existential threat for the US dollar from crypto. And that's what I really tuned into. I'm where's all this coming from? It's the why. Why are you so ideologically against it? what is happening here exactly that is making you use these antagonistic, inflammatory words? Yeah, it's because whoever
He's
controls this
lobbying.
man,
Yep.
yeah, whoever controls this man is lobbying him, benefits from the status quo, and does not want crypto to keep growing and succeeding in the U.S.
And if you want some positives to take from all this, is that since 2008, definitely, but since 2014, and when more people have been getting into the space and it's become more involved in, you know, the U.S., you know, like population, is that we actually have people on Capitol Hill now fighting for us. Like, we have lobbyists who go out and seek people who are actually trying to benefit the technology, benefit blockchain, who are open-minded, who are on the other side. So don't think, again, we show Sherman off because it's absolutely ridiculous, the shit that he says, but there are people on the Hill, and I believe there are people in that meeting that also said some really intelligent things. And we're talking about this being, again, this is what's crazy. And one of the really old guys had a great comment. He was like, this is just old-fashioned money laundering. This has nothing to do with blockchain technology or anything like that. This is old-fashioned, straight up. We're not telling you where your funds are going, and we're using it for something else. And that's what the majority of this whole event was. And there are people on the Hill that are going and going to bat for crypto. Again, I'm going to drop 2-Bit Idiot one more time. If you're looking for, like, and this guy tweets generally every day, he's on the ground. He's a former founder, or I believe current founder of Masari, and he's amazing, dude.
And they have a free newsletter that you can subscribe to. They obviously have some paid tiers as well, but it's fantastic work, right up there with Delphi and Real Vision. Really, really good.
Yeah, I'm going to drop his Twitter thread here in a second. All right, Gifted, any last thoughts on today's news? I know it was heavy. It was heavy Binance. It was heavy FTX stuff.
It was heavy. It was very heavy. super, super heavy.
All I'm asking for is that we go out with an image of the cock holder.
Lasso? Dude, well, first of all, let's not forget that we have some exciting news coming over soon regarding CockPunch. So after the game, check the Twitter and everything, because I am very much looking forward to this first episode. I think it'll be a good start this whole week.
Hell yeah,
love it.
So
Hell yeah,
checking them out, tracking.
You know, and to end on a lighter note, Mumbot is going to come on the show tomorrow. Apparently, Mumbot is going to be here tomorrow. That's exciting. And also, it makes me feel good actually just thinking about the fact that Representative Sherman can't even get any from his wife. That's funny to me. That's funny to think about. So I'll just laugh. I'll just laugh to myself about that today, about thinking about how miserable that cunt is. Anyway.
Let them know, Gift. Tell us how you really feel. All right, folks, we are getting up out of here. This was NFT Live. Again, we are doing this every Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check us out tomorrow as well as on the GM Web3 Morning Show. You guys were awesome here today. We're up out of here. SBF, don't drop the soap. Peace.